Wondering what to pick up in the next visit to your local comic book store? Looking for something different from the big two? Well, New Comic Book Day Spitfire is it for you, especially when it comes to indie comics, because I'm going to be going through all the indie comics that you can pick up at your local comic book store this upcoming New Comic Book Day. Before I dive in, please click like and subscribe and get more from Comic Crusaders, and also check us out at comiccrusaders.com. I am Dodgy, and I'm going to be embarking on Spitfire. So please join me, and any questions that you have, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and let's go. So first things first, we'll be going through Previews magazine. So Previews number 393, there's a few mentions of indie comics. You can see Ablaze there as one of the publishers highlighted in this episode or in this issue of Previews. So please check it out. It's a really good magazine, especially if you want to check out what's coming out. And you can read the little bios about the creators as well as the books that are coming. And now we're going to be going through our Spitfire's licensed honorable mentions. First one is Star Trek Year 5, number 23, The Witcher, Transformers Beast Wars, number 6, Plants vs. Zombies, The Darkwing Duck trade by Fantagraphics, TMNT issue number 2 from the last Ronin series, the second print, TMNT Annual Year 2021, Firefly number 31, more from the Whedonverse. We've got the Buffy Trade Volume 6. Then we have the Game of Thrones Clash of the Kings, Star Wars Adventures number 7. Then we've got Doctor Who, the latest issue coming out for that, as well as Power Rangers Unlimited number 1. Now we're going to be moving into the publishers, and we're going to start with Abstract Studios. At Abstract, bring us Serial, The Glass Tomb by Terry Moore. Zoe is a mature-aged serial killer trapped in a child's body. When a friend of hers is killed, she acts out on her revenge. Now we have Aftershock Comics that bring us a series of books. First one is Phantom of the Scan number 4 by Cullen Bunn. A comet hits Earth and Matthew is impacted, whereas a spirit that gives him incredible physic powers. He teams up with other psychics. In this issue, their findings will impact them forever. And now we have The Girls from a Dimension 13, number 4 by industry vets Graham Nolan, the co-creator of Bane, and Brett Blevins from New Mutants in the 1980s with Chris Claremont. 4 young girls are lured into a creepy building in New York City, which leads into different dimensions. But what is so special about number 13? Well, you got to read it to find out. Now we have The Seven Swords number 2, just like Rough Riders, which is one of my personal favorites from Aftershock. We have a book of swashbuckling fictional characters like Captain Blood, Don Juan, D'Artagnan, and Cyrano de Bergerac. I'm so sorry I'm butchering the names, but yeah, they're all teaming up. There are other swordsmen who are not yet mentioned, but really excited to see this. I actually really want to pick this up. And now we have Shadow Doctor number 5 about Nathaniel Calloway, a young African-American man in the 1930s. He's a medical student who deals with hardship with not getting a job in hospitals due to his ethnicity. He earns money in a different way in the boom of the alcohol prohibition era, Chicago, working for Al Capone. In issue number 5, he wants out, but is there a way out? Can't say no to Al, that's for sure. And then we've got Antarctic Press, who bring us Death by Life number 4. Great looking cover, by the way. Titled The Wolf Spider, a fantasy book by Anthony Zaccari and Claudio Sepulveda. I'm so sorry, I'm butchering names today. Now we've got AWA Upshot. We've got Chariot number 5 of 5. Based in the Cold War era, the Chariot is a secret government project, and it is a hot muscle car. After years of being lost and now recovered, think Knight Rider meets Fast and the Furious. Imagine finding this car in some allotment. Okay, then we've got Behemoth. You Promised Me Darkness number 4. Approximately every 75 years, Halley comets are around the sun. And every time this happens, people around the world are born with...
Cosmos, Caltech. Halley's Comet will next appear.
I'm sorry, Google just interrupted me then. Yeah, every 75 years it goes around the sun. People are born with special abilities, and these abilities are known as auras. Two brothers come to grips with their fantastic powers and cursed by these auras. This is by Do-It-All Damien Connolly, who does the writing as well as art duties. Now we have Boom Studios, who bring us a handful of books. First one is Good Luck number 2. What if everyone was born with luck? This would be an interesting place, right? These 4 misfits are out of luck, literally. They can join. We can join their adventures for fans of Seven Secrets and The Runaways. And now we have Berserker number 4 by Matt Kind and Keanu Reeves, with art by industry vet Ron Garney. What if Berserker's past can lead to immortality? There's a couple of variants there. I really cut down on the variants today, so I'm only issuing 3. So if you want to see the rest, please check out previews or visit your local comic book store. Now we have Something is Killing the Children number 18, the horror hit series by James Tynion IV, about Erica Slaughter, who is hunting for the thing that is killing the children. In this issue, Erica and her rival are pulled into something so deep that they may not be able to recover. Definitely worth a check out. And then we have Dune number 1, which is, I believe, based on a movie. The covers in this look really, really decent. If you want to pick up something new and fresh, this is a sci-fi book, definitely worth a check out. And now we have Dark Horse Comics that bring us a handful of books as well. First one is Shaolin Cowboy Star Trek trade paperback by Jeff Darrow. This collects Shaolin Cowboy, the Berliman Years, issues number 1 to 7. So a really great way to start if you just want to read something fresh. Pick it up as a trade. And another trade they've brought out as well is Heart in a Box by Kelly Thompson, about Emma whose heart is broken and wishes it gone, and her wish is granted. Maybe not the best idea, I must say. You need your heart. Now she embarks on a mission to get pieces of her heart piece by piece. And then we have Grendel Devil's Odyssey number 8, the finale by Matt Wagner, as Grendel Prime confronts a force that even he cannot overcome. That's another variant for you. Then we have Parasomnia by Cullen Bunn, issue number 2, a new dark fantasy of 2 worlds split between reality and dreams or nightmares. A man fights through bad dreams to locate his missing son. Very eerie. Gotta love those covers. And this is one of my personal favorite. That's Gru Meets Tarzan by Sergio Aragones with Mark Ivania. So Mark Ivania was actually the protege of Jack Kirby and also a comic book historian. We typically see Gru and Conan, so it's interesting to see him with Tarzan. That's actually pretty cool. Very different. And now we have Dynamite. And Dynamite only brings us 2 books this week. One of them is Sonya Versal number 6, ideal for new readers, starring Red Sonya, Blue Sonya, Green Sonya, Orange Sonya, Saint Sonya, Hell Sonya, and many more. This here looks to be Hell Sonya, if I'm not mistaken. This kind of has that Green Lantern feel to it, with the different colors of the rings, of the lantern rings. We see another variant covers there. And then we have Sacred 6 number 11. Our 6 heroes, Vampirella, Draculina, Panther, Nyx, Chastity, and Lilith, go up against the evil horde of Leviticus, not without bickering amongst themselves. So will they get along, and will cooler heads prevail? We shall see. Nice variant covers there. And then we have Heavy Metal. They bring us a few floppies this week, one of which is The Young Frankenstein number 4 by Paul Cornell and art by Emma Viacelli, a horror romance title about a brilliant young medical student, Elizabeth Cleave, who was attracted to a young charismatic surgeon named James Frankenstein. He wants to further medical science by all means necessary. So how far will Elizabeth go We shall see. It's a very interesting premise there. And then we have The Black Beacon #1 by Ryan K. Lindsay and Sebastian Perez on art duties. A sci-fi story about an intergalactic space station where everyone wants to meet up. The beacon made it sound like a utopia, but what Nico finds out upon her arrival, that is a lawless hub. The story is about survival through Nico's eyes, and she has to figure out who to trust before things catch up with her. This was collected in previous issues of Heavy Metal magazine, and they created it to a floppy, so it's really good to see. It's nice to see Ryan K. Lindsay doing more work in the industry. Now we have Darkwing #1 by Matthew Medney, collected from Heavy Metal magazine's issues number 300 to 309, about a planet turned into a spaceship by human-like people known as Quails, piloted by the legendary Benedict Gunn. When Captain Gunn pulls a daring interstellar maneuver, the price he and his crew must pay is deadly. Interesting there. And then we have The Savage Circus Unstable Elements one-shot by Brendan Columbus. A gang of criminals target their perfect heist, robbing a circus train. But this is not any circus train. This is the Savage Circus, a collection of Earth's deadliest man-eaters. Each animal has a horrific backstory and an urge to kill. Very, very intriguing. Now we have IDW, and IDW only have 2 books for us this week. One is Usagi Yojimbo, Dragon Bellow Conspiracy #2, retelling of one of the best Usagi stories of all time and in color. So what you get here is the classic stories that were brought out probably through Fantagraphics way back in the early to mid 80s, or early to late 80s, and in color. And then we have the ongoing Usagi Yojimbo #20, the introduction of a new recurring character named Yukichi, as Usagi encounters a young swordsman carrying out the dying wish of his master. So a decent samurai tale there for fans. And now we have Image Comics. So Image Comics kicks off with Spawn #320, soon expanding to the upcoming King Spawn #1. So in this title alone, Spawn is going to be matching up against his new and expanding Rogues Gallery. So we're getting more characters, getting more villains, which is pretty cool. Another variant there for you. And then we have Scumbag #9. I really love this cover, especially this one, because it has that Storenko feel to it, almost like a movie poster. This is an action comedy series by Rick Remender. Ernie has double and triple crossed so many times he doesn't even remember what he's on, or how he's gonna, or how he's gonna be the one who's gonna be backstabbed. So definitely he is a scumbag. So I really love that title. And then we have That Texas Blood #8, a crime mystery tale about a sheriff who questions his role as he's getting on with age. In this issue, he's given a hot tip related to a cult, something to keep himself relevant, I guess. And then we have Vinyl #2, a horror comedy by Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard, with art by Dave Stewart, about a serial killer who finds himself being hunted, but not by the feds. This is a 6-part miniseries. Kind of feels a bit like Dexter, I must say. And then we have The Department of Truth, a crime suspense hit by James Tinian IV, who's killing it at the moment with his indie scene. He is doing Batman. He's doing really good with Batman, but his indie comics are actually pretty decent as well. This is about the JFK assassination conspiracies, and Martin Simmons' interior art is enough to give you the willies. It's really freaky, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at those covers, man. And that's a decent one too with a gorilla, but I'm not really sure why there's a gorilla in this. We shall see. And now we have The Old Guard, Tales Through Time #4, by creative heavyweights Matt Fraction, Steve Lieber, David F. Walker, and Matthew Clark, telling individual stories about soldiers from different times. This would be excellent as a trade, I've got to say, especially if you missed out on the previous titles. And I know the previous previous stories are written by Brian Michael Bendis as well as Greg Rucka, so it'd be interesting to get them as a trade, or go back and actually pick up the previous floppies. There's the other variant covers there, very nice. And then we've got Rain Like Hammers trade paperback called Sky Cradle by Brandon Graham as writer and artist. His art style reminds me of the Blue Meanie or the Yellow Submarine cartoon, the cartoon movie by the Beatles. It has that very surreal look to it, but very, very nice. This sci-fi story is about a cyber criminal, and it collects issues number 1 to 5. So a great way to get in. And then we have Jules Verne's Lighthouse number 4 by Brian Haberlin and John Hine. A sci-fi mecha story loosely based on the book The Lighthouse at the End of the World, published in 1905 by Jules Verne. But this scene is set in the year 2717. Very mecha, kind of has that Westfield feel to it. So if you're a fan of that show, this is a book for you. And there's a couple of variants there. We've also got the black and white version cover. Now we have Made in Korea number 3 of a 6-part miniseries. This is about Jessie, the world's first true AI system. Growing up means learning to think outside the box and adapt. Very unique story from Jeremy Holt and George Shaw. And now we have Headloppers number 16. Our heroes are banded together to close in on locating the fabled Morgrid stairs. As you can see, those stairs there looks very, very neat. I love the red and the yellow. But this story concludes with an explosive finish. 16 issues is pretty good for nowadays in indie comics. Now we have Summoners War Legacy number 4. Ray knows there's only one way out of Nothing Town to become a summoner, but when she's recruited by Abbas Dean as an apprentice, she embarks on an adventure of a lifetime and is thrust into a war and the fate of the world. I love the art. It's very cartoonish. It's absolutely amazing. And, Skybound doing some really good books at the moment through Image. Now we've got Mirka Andolfo's Sweet Paprika number 1. So Paprika is a successful businesswoman. Her career focus made her ignorant to family and relationship building until her heart is broken, which led her to become very introverted. She wants love again and seeks help from a confident young angel friend. And here he is. So here he is giving her a hand. It's almost like an assistant. But this book has loads and loads and loads of variant covers. I only put up 3, especially this one by Art Germ. It's very nice. There's a virgin cover of this as well that also is identical. It's very, very nice. Art Germ is a industry heavyweight when it comes to cover art. And now we've got Skybound X number 4, 4th week in a row. Now there's something very, very unique here, and I think I picked this up from this issue. And then we see Rick Grimes 2000 versus Negan 2000. So you see Lucille look like a lightsaber. I love that. It's pretty damn cool. Now we have It's Alive. And they bring us one title, and that's Strange Attractors number 3 by Mark Sherman with art by Michael Cohen, about a futuristic museum curator and her friend Pirate Peg who stumble across a cursed asteroid. Has that 50s, 60s sci-fi feel to it. I really like the costume design. It's very plain, very basic, but kind of has that nostalgic feel to it. And now we have paper cuts, so the all ages print, and they bring us Smurf Tales Volume 1, the Smurfs and the Brady Kid and Other Stories. This is an all ages book, 154 pages retold in English for the first time, written and illustrated by Payo. Now we've got Red 5 Comics, and they bring us a one-shot, Angela Della Morte prequel. Discover the true story of Angela and how she learned to switch bodies and came to work for Dr. Sibelius. So this is her, her origin story. Now we have Scout Comics, and they have one book for us, and that is Rabbit World number 2. In a secret science lab, a group of scientists are trying to find the cause of a virus that made the world go mad. No, I'm not talking about the virus that's going around the world right now. This one makes people go rabid. So A little bit more crazy than what we're experiencing now. And SourcePoint Press bring us 2 books out this week, one of which is Runes #1, set in Alba, or better known as Scotland, in 850 CE. A Viking crashes and faces the challenges of being a loner in a strange place. Ideal for Vikings fans. And then we have The Cult of Dracula, a brave documentary crew filming the house of Dracul. Like, seriously, guys, if you're going to film anywhere, why would you choose this place? Because this ain't Buckingham Palace. This is like, yeah, this is not the place you really want to be filming a documentary. And I love that cover, by the way. Looks very realistic. And now we have the horror print Storm King Productions, and they bring us the Tales of Science Fiction #4, Hell. Presented by John Carpenter, where communications with the surface world are cut off. Threatened by land-crawling piranha-like predators, a strike team finds themselves knee-deep in combat from the moment they start their gloomy mission. Now we have Titan Comics, and they bring us one title, and that is V.E. Schwab's Extraordinary #2, a supernatural fantasy villainous book. Charlotte Tills survives a deadly accident and becomes extraordinary by gaining the ability to foresee a person's death. Not really the skills I would like to have. Thank you very much. And there's a variant cover there for you. And this one is probably my favorite variant. Look at that. It's absolutely gorgeous. And now we have Valiant Comics. They bring us one title, and that is Shadow Man #4. By Cullen Bunn, who seems to be everywhere today, and John Davis Hunt on art duties, where Shadow Man is dealing with the darkness in London, locating the source of a dangerous hallucinating drug. Yeah, it's a beautiful cover. I like that one. That's my favorite. And now Vault. They bring us a handful of books today. Now we've got Barbaric #2, a barbaric dude with a living axe that thirsts for blood. What more do you want in a title? More blood, more mayhem, more monsters. That's the premise that Vault gave us, so that's pretty cool. Now we have Money Shot #13. Sorry, there's another variant there. Another one. So we get some more variants. Now we got Money Shot #13, a naughty sci-fi title about triple explorers of young sexually active scientists, by Sarah Beatty, Tim Seeley, with art by Rebecca Isaacs. Yeah, I really like reading the synopsis for that. It was pretty funny. And then we have Shadow Service #10. Gina is a private investigator who is a bit different. She's a witch, and with her team, the Shadow Service, they use their magic to aid their missions. It's pretty cool. Like, I like that. Very different. And then we've got the last book you'll ever read, a horror title from the mind of Cullen Bunn. I told you he's been everywhere today. Olivia Kay, the author of the book Satire, is an international bestseller and is being blamed for the acts of senseless violence and bloodshed all over the world. So she's been blamed, and hence why this is called the last book you'll ever read. Makes a lot of sense. I really like this variant cover. It just looks pretty plain, very, very cool. This one too looks very nice. I see a bit of that satire written on the spine of that book there. And lastly, there is The Blue Flame #3 by Christopher Cantwell, with art by David Gorham, a superhero title about a tragically injured Sam Brawson, who's barely able to walk again. But when he wears a blue flame suit, he can fly amongst the stars. So it's really inspirational. I think a must-have for fans. This is pretty cool. It's nice to see like a true cosmic superhero title in indie. Kind of has that Nexus feel to it. Now we have Zetascope, and they have 2 books for us this week. First one is Possessive. It's about a guy named Todd who purchases his family a new home that could be possessed. And as you can see, he's sharing the bed with one of the possessed or the previous tenant. And then we have Grim Fairy Tales Presents Swimsuit Edition one shot. This is a pin-up collection by various artists. And they're all virgin covers. You don't really get to see the text on these books. All right, so that wraps it up. Another week of new comic book day, indie titles. So many to choose from, so many publishers, trades as well. I mean, some of the books that I mentioned are only like 3 to 4 issues in. So if you can go back and actually ask your local comic book store if they have the previous issues in maybe pull list people don't pick up their books or they didn't really sell that well, go back and pick them up, because you never know that you might find yourself with a real gem, something that you really enjoy reading. Just remember, sometimes indie books, they don't have to be all about superheroes. They could be about anything. So please support your local comic book store, support indie publishers. Pick up a new trade that you're not familiar with. Get something different. I mean, I've seen things from Boom that have just really blown my mind, because I always know Boom as being a almost like a licensed publisher, but now they're creating their own stuff, and some of them are like mind blowing, man. Like really, really fantastic work, and some of them could be made into TV shows and movies, which you will soon be seeing with Netflix and Amazon Prime. But guys, please, thank you so much for joining me on Spitfire. Leave a comment if I've missed anything, or if you need clarity or you want to give me some clarity, please do so below. Click like and subscribe to get more from Comic Crusaders through YouTube. And don't forget to check us out at comiccrusaders.com. I am Dodgy, and I'll see you all next week.
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this Comic Crusaders production. For real-time news on all things pop culture, please feel free to follow us on social media. For articles, original content, merchandise, and more, please go to www.comiccrusaders.com. Also follow along with all of the websites of the Comic Crusaders family. As always, if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to the Comic Crusaders YouTube channel.